All right, you guys, we're going to jump right into this with no introduction. There's a lot that I would like to speak with you guys about. Can't wait to hear your feedback. A lot of lies that are being put out there, narratives that I would say are half truths or just misrepresentations entirely. And I don't really see the reason for that. First and foremost, to let you know, last week was not a dream. Charlie Kirk, my friend, is dead. And he was publicly executed. I want to make that clear. Charlie Kirk was publicly executed before the world. And as we are all searching for answers, the ones that are being supplied to us are not making a lot of sense. And some people, I would say, are speaking too much, are speaking on behalf of other people. I don't like it. I will say something that I think brought the world a lot of relief, also, sadness. We were grieving with her, was when his wife, Mrs. Erica Kirk, addressed not just the nation, but the entire world. Her words were very powerful. And we just have a very brief portion of her remarks, which you should pursue in their entirety. But here she is.
If you thought that my husband's mission was powerful before, you have no idea. You have no idea what you just have unleashed across this entire country. In this world, you have no idea. You have no idea the fire that you have ignited within this wife. The cries of this widow will echo around the world like a battle cry. To everyone listening tonight across America, the movement my husband built will not die. It won't. I refuse to let that happen. It will not die.
Beautiful, powerful words. Charlie had just one wife. What we got to see across this weekend is that there were so many people around the world, like she said, who were deeply moved by Charlie Kirk throughout their lives and, of course, have been deeply moved by this tragedy. And what she is describing there, that fire, a lot of us are feeling it. I am definitely feeling it. I had a very tough weekend, I will say this. My entire life, I've not been much of a crier. It is not my choice emotion. I'm not a person who bursts into tears, and some people are like that. This weekend, I didn't just cry. I wept. I wept for Charlie. Obviously, I didn't make it through the tribute to him on Friday, and for those of you who wanted to see me in a moment of weakness, that was delivered to you. Fair. Yeah, I watched my friend get shot in the neck. Yeah, that's what happened. I just want to say that he was publicly executed again before the world. The question is why, right? When you are in a state of grief, you go through a lot of emotions, and I'm arriving right now at a lot of anger, the audacity of some people. It has taken much restraint and prayer, and I had to speak with a priest. I had to go to confession. These emotions that I am having, wanting to respond with Charlie in his own words, really. People that are coming forward and saying this is what he thought and this is how he should be remembered. It just feels really inappropriate to me. I didn't know what to do other than to scroll through messages between me and Charlie, regarding which there are a ton of them. And kept going back and watching the many videos of us dancing to the song Power. And it felt appropriate to reach out to Ye, speaking about things, talking about his mode when he wrote the song. When you wrote the song Power, why did we have it as our hype song? Because the song is about the ability to find it within yourself to become what you are capable of becoming inside of a matrix, when you just realize everything is dishonest, that everything is performative, that people are dishonest, that they are going to try to stop you from being great. In fact, it's the end of the song, the question that he asks at the end of the song, that's the most important. Ye asks, do you have the power to let power go? Do you have the power to say no to power? I told you guys that Charlie was going through a spiritual transformation at the end, and all of the usual suspects were really angry that I hinted towards that. What do you mean? You're not allowed to say that. They were attacking me, trying to make me fearful to speak out and speak about the things that I know. I'm not feeling very fearful right now. I am, like I said, very angry. And I found, Charlie's favorite portion of the song. I'll show you the text between him and I, because this feels very relevant right now. This is, again, lyrics directly from the song Power, but I just needed time alone with my own thoughts, got treasures in my mind, but couldn't open up my own vault. My childlike creativity, purity, and honesty is honestly being crowded by these grown thoughts. Reality is catching up with me. Taking my inner child, I'm fighting for custody with these responsibilities that they entrusted me. And that's a moment where he is really speaking about how hard it is. Like when you're saying, no, this is what I believe. And they say, you're not allowed to believe that. You feel like you are fighting for custody of yourself. And I want to be very clear that I believe, in fact, I know that towards the end, Charlie was fighting for custody of himself. I want to say that. I want to say that plainly. And there are lies that are being told and they need to be slapped down right now. There's one person who's been out there acting like he is a widow, just saying the absolute most, tweeting first about what happened to Charlie, following it minute to minute, and doing hits in a foreign country, right? Like making time to do hits on Fox News, 2 of them. Bibi Netanyahu who's fighting, I think, like an 84 front war with everyone, made a lot of time for Charlie Kirk. You would have thought they were the best of friends, as close as him and Trump were. But I will say I don't recall Erica mentioning Bibi Netanyahu in her speech. The way he's presenting it is like he was this is just the worst loss for him, but I don't think that is the truth. In fact, I know for a fact that he is misrepresenting some things that happened there towards the end. So let's at first listen to what Bibi Netanyahu, just one day, less than 24 hours after Charlie died, what Bibi Netanyahu had to say on Fox News. Take a listen.
We're just heartbroken. Myself, my wife, my family, my son, actually, on his 2019 visit to Israel, had lunch with him and his wife, Erica. We're shattered first as human beings because a great human being has been taken from us. Was an extraordinary friend. He said, he wrote me a letter on May 2nd this year. He said, one of my greatest joys as a Christian is advocating for Israel and forming alliances to defend Judeo-Christian civilization. A few weeks before the tragedy yesterday, I called him and I spoke to him and I said, please come to Israel. I invited him to Israel. And sadly, that visit will not take place. But he was a defender of our common Judeo-Christian civilization. He was unbelievably excited to walk in the footsteps of Jesus here. He valued our bond, the bond between America and Israel. He did so many things to defend free speech. He had his truth. He stood up for it. But he said, you can come and debate me. He invited that debate. He certainly didn't invite the violence, the horrible violence that tried to silence him. And, this is a worldwide problem. The people on the extremes, the Islamists, the radical Islamists, and their union with the ultra-progressives, they often speak about human rights. They speak about free speech, but they use violence to try to take down their enemies, whether it's President Trump, who's been almost assassinated twice, or, they try to kill me here too. But they got Charlie Kirk, and it's just heartbreaking.
Who is they, Bibi? Who is they who got Charlie Kirk? We don't have to actually speak conspiracies. I'm just wondering, because you said a lot there, but it really sounded like it was about Bibi trying to establish a narrative that we saw reinforced by a lot of people, that, Charlie kind of made it almost sound like he died for Israel. I mean, Trump's account even tweeted out a photo of Charlie and an American flag and also an Israeli flag, a bit of AI used, like this is just who Charlie was. He says Judeo-Christian values. He spoke to him 2 weeks ago. Again, you would think he was busy fighting this 97,000 front war, but no, he's letting you know that he just randomly picks up the phone and calls Charlie Kirk and invites him to Israel? Why would Bibi do that? It seems like maybe there's a little more to the story. No, there definitely is a little bit more to the story. First and foremost, that letter he is holding up, he is severely misrepresenting. Those sentences are real, but I am calling upon Bibi Netanyahu, the dear friend to Charlie Kirk, to publish the letter's entire contents. Like, don't start with just 2 sentences. Publish the entire thing. You're holding it. I'm saying you're severely misrepresenting the contents, that in May, Charlie was concerned about Israel and their influence on American politics and how they were pushing things that he felt were in conflict with his beliefs, free speech here in America. Bibi's holding it up like Charlie just in May said, hey, you know what? I just want to write a love letter to Israel. That's how it was presented. Would you guys agree? That's not how it happened. Now, regarding that phone call and that invite, that also needs to be contextualized. And I'm going to do that. But first, Skylar, can we bring in a clip of Charlie from a month ago speaking about the kind of pressure that he was under? Because I think that will also help to further contextualize this. Take a listen.
I'm an American citizen. Yes, I want Israel to win. Yes, I'm a Christian. But like, some of the mess, and you've seen how I've been treated, Megan, by some, not all, by some.
No, it's very irritating.
It's
been
almost
so
as if
unfair.
you,
They were coming after you after Turning Point for, among other things, that you had Dave Smith there. Dave Smith is allowed to criticize Israel. You had both sides. The Israeli side was overrepresented.
Though. No, you're not allowed to. It's even worse than that. Again, I just want to repeat for the 5th time. I love Israel. I want Israel to win. But my moral character is now being put into question, Megan. Not my decisions. Not like, hey, are you doing this? Is it smart or is it dumb? But no, I am a bad person if I do this. And I could go, I mean, you saw it, Megan. It was trending on Twitter, thousands of tweets and text messages. And if I were to be charitable and generous, I will say the people that are attacking me are in a hyper-paranoid state because they're at war, and war tends to make things black and white, and you're a hammer looking for a nail. So I'm trying to be charitable, Megan. Literally, I'm trying to cut as much slack as I can, right? Like, okay, what would it be like if all of a sudden I'm starting to see a pattern of behavior similar to what my grandparents saw in 1930s Germany online? How would I behave? So that's like my charitable kind of overcompensation spirit. At the same time, I'm like, but it's not defensible to be dumb, right?
No, it's not defensible to be dumb. And he was under an increasing amount of pressure, not just people telling him, oh, well, you know, I'm upset with who you're inviting, but flat out telling him that he was not allowed to invite certain people to his events. They were threatening to pull out money. Charlie was getting a lot of really nasty text messages, and many of them pertaining to Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens. But Tucker Carlson was really the focus when it came to America Fest. How could Charlie allow these debates about Israel to take place? How could he allow Dave Smith, who, by the way, is Jewish, how could how could Charlie allow this other position to meet the stage? Because obviously when people start to hear the debates, what Dave Smith is saying sounds so rational, but it was up to Charlie to not allow those things to happen. And that amount of pressure towards the end, as you see that conversation he had with Meghan was just a month before he lost his life, really, I would say, reached a pinnacle of sorts on the matter of what Tucker Carlson actually said on that stage. Tucker Carlson, while he was on that stage at Turning Point, brought up Bill Ackman. Bill Ackman is a billionaire, obviously. He is also an extremely litigious billionaire. And Bill Ackman was on Charlie about comments that Tucker Carlson had made on that stage. Tucker Carlson specifically asked the question, where does Bill Ackman's money come from? You know, who is this guy? Actually, who is this guy that has this much influence? And like I said, Bill Ackman was not happy about this. And so I would like to contextualize Bibi. Again, these are things Bibi brought up publicly, which he didn't have to. He didn't have to bring up the letter. He didn't have to bring up the phone call, but he chose to do this less than 24 hours after Charlie Kirk was shot. Personally, Bibi, I would have appreciated if you guys used all of your spyware, you've been spying on us for years, to maybe track down the killer. But I guess this is where you thought it was best to do a little propaganda for Israel would be better than us helping us track down the killer. But anyway, so Bibi Netanyahu and that phone call, what took place was a couple of weeks ago before Charlie lost his life. Charlie was in the Hamptons and he had more than one event, but he had essentially what was staged, an intervention was staged by Bill Ackman, because Charlie's rational thoughts about Israel were a no-no. This is not the route that you should be going on. And Charlie was surrounded by his friends, his quote unquote friends. Bill Ackman was very upset and threats were made. That is what I am told, and I will tell you that I am very happy for Bill Ackman to dispute this narrative. In fact, he was asked to dispute this narrative. Max Blumenthal went out to him today, and Bill Ackman came back and said, I have receipts I can show you, and he did not provide the receipts. This is not how it went down. I know it went down this way. I'm waiting for one of them to go on record and to say that it didn't go down this way. It was at this time that Bibi Netanyahu was called and Charlie was invited to Israel. This was an under duress situation, I would say, because I've been in these situations before. When I started asking very sensible questions about Israel, as someone who had dedicated her political life to supporting Israel, many times alongside Charlie Kirk, I was met with the very same pressure. And just like Charlie was being invited to Israel, I was invited somewhere else. And when this arrived to me, it felt like a threat. You know, I got to tell you that. It felt like a threat, like not like, hey, come here and we can educate you because you're my friend. More like, this is your last chance. That's how it felt to me. I can't speak to how it felt to Charlie. And I know that Charlie was offered a ton of money in this moment. A ton of money. Bibi would fund it, you know, spend tons of money. And Turning Point, I guess, if it needed to go to a higher level, would have gone to an even higher level than it already was at. And I know for a fact that Charlie denied that funding. That Charlie denied, and what Bibi didn't include there, he declined to go to Israel for, I would describe this as like, you know, re-education camp. You know, we've seen it. You made an uh-oh, but we can help you. You know, we just need you to come out to Auschwitz and take a picture. Yeah. We just need you to come to the Holocaust Museum and take a photo. We just need you to go to Israel and we can make this better. Charlie said no to Bibi. Okay. Bill Ackman, if you would like to dispute that, I would love to hear what you say happened, because our sources and what we have, it's solid. Okay. There were conversations that took place, messages that were sent at that time, and they are solid. So I decided another person that was there, and I am not surprised this person was there. If you've been listening to my show, Seth Dillon, I was going to go out to Seth Dillon, and I decided to message him last night about this Hamptons meeting. And Seth Dillon, who is normally very quick with a response, has not yet been able to respond. I'll show you this text message chain. And I want to be clear, I am not someone who normally publicizes text messages. But my friend was shot in the neck. And I'm just not really in the state right now to be polite when it comes to the answers that I am demanding, okay? This is me out to Seth Dillon last night. I sent him Bill Ackman's tweet because, you know, he tweeted, I feel incredibly privileged to have spent a day and shared a meal with Charlie Kirk this summer. He was a giant of a man. I said, any comment on this one, Seth? He didn't answer last night. This morning I said, need a comment ASAP, please. He didn't answer. Then I followed that up and I said, trying again here, you were present when Ackman lost his mind on Charlie and when Bibi invited him to Israel and Charlie refused. Text messages immediately following this meeting are circulating. I find Ackman's statement as though the meeting was somehow cordial to be incredibly disturbing. Are you at all disturbed by that tweet? Do you feel, as I do, that this tweet significantly betrays the defined purpose and mood of his, and I presume your, final meeting with Charlie Kirk? ? He was unable to speak to me, but he did place some frantic calls to Turning Point USA. Yeah. You see, I went out to Seth, but I also went out to 2 other people who were at this meeting, and nobody is willing to go on record. They're all messaging each other, trying to figure out a coordinated response to say that, no, this was all quite cordial, but no one wants to go on record and describe it as cordial because they know someone's leaking, because someone's got a guilty conscience about what happened at the Hamptons. So I will again put it out there, Seth, Bill Ackman, and to the other individuals who I have not yet named, but who are going to be named later this week, who were at the Hamptons when Charlie was put under pressure, when Bibi Netanyahu called him and invited him to Israel, again, in a move that when it happened to me, and it wasn't Bibi Netanyahu, felt to me like a laced threat. I am inviting you guys, I will give you my platform, actually, to come clear matters up, to tell us what really happened, because, I think Charlie was definitely on the brink of changing some of his perspectives. And I can tell you factually, Charlie was praying the rosary. Charlie was going to Mass. One of my last conversations with Charlie was me joking with him saying, just make the last step, okay? You are, I said specifically, you're too smart to be a Protestant. Just take the last step, Charlie. And he says, ha ha. He was speaking about Mary. And typically when those steps start taking place, you stop referring to yourself, as I did, as a Judeo-Christian. Again, it is mystifying why, Bibi was out there doing the absolute most to make sure that Charlie was basically remembered as, I would argue, like a Jew, has not been yet mentioned. I didn't hear that. Erica was very clear that Charlie was a Christian, and I believe Charlie obviously was very much a Christian, and that things are not being told truthfully. In fact, I will also call upon, since we're having fun, Turning Point USA to release the audio of what Charlie Kirk, because I was in communication with Charlie at this time, because I knew exactly which donors were pressuring him and why, exactly which people, that they were insisting Charlie allowed to speak at his event and why, when Charlie did not necessarily want those people to speak at his event, okay? I'm calling upon Turning Point to release the footage of what Charlie said to Tucker Carlson before he hit the stage, before, all of that craziness and the response to Tucker Carlson's remarks played out. Charlie was mic'd. Surely Tucker Carlson was mic'd. I know Charlie's mic'd the entire time at those events. So I'm asking for everyone to just release Charlie in his own words. I feel like that's pretty fair, right? Let's stop saying how Charlie felt. And instead, if you're going to hold up the letter, release it in its entirety. Okay? Why don't you release your messages, Bill? I'll release mine. Let's all just be very forthcoming about what took place. In fact, I'm calling upon Tucker Carlson to speak about that. I know what Charlie said to him, and I'm sure Tucker Carlson won't lie about it. What did Charlie say to you? Dave Smith, what did Charlie say to you? What was Charlie? Did he seem like he was treading in a direction? Like, do we feel like what Bibi is saying is honest, a representation of what Charlie was going through? This is what I want. I think that the thing that we need here, sunlight is the best disinfectant. Now, does all of this mean that Bibi Netanyahu and that this somehow proves that Israel was involved in the assassination of Charlie Kirk? No, we have no evidence of that. We can't say that because there is no evidence of that. But I don't like little lies. That's what I will say. Something that I always say in my household is, when there is one lie, there's 20. There's no reason to lie. Bibi could have gone on Fox News and he could have told the truth. He could have said truthfully that Charlie Kirk has always loved Israel. He has always loved Israel as the Holy Land. He's been here many times. And throughout his career, he has been a faithful supporter of Israel. That's not what he said. Okay. he talks about the phone call and didn't give it the proper context. He held up the letter and didn't give it the proper context. And lies by severe omission, I'd like to be very clear, are lies. Lies by severe omission are lies. You're not going to gaslight us and tell us to shut up or call us anti-Semitic for pointing out the fact that Charlie was having a change of heart about the tactics that Israel was using in America, and that he felt when he had left that meeting that he had effectively been blackmailed. Again, my platform is yours, Seth Dillon. My platform is yours, Bill Ackman. So if you want to clarify it, we can do it in front of millions, okay? And I think that that's what people deserve, because everyone has PTSD. We watched Charlie get shot in the throat. That feels a little bit symbolic. It feels like they wanted us to know that his voice was problematic. Again, I don't know who they is. After we take this brief break, we're going to go through the investigation, which seems to have a lot of inconsistencies and holes in it. And we're definitely not yet at the bottom of what, in fact, took place. But I do know that I severely distrust people who rush to misrepresent things. And it's not a good sign when somebody has to ask you, as Greta Van Susteren asked Bibi Netanyahu in his secondary hit regarding Charlie Kirk's assassination. It's not a good sign if somebody even has to ask if you did have anything to do with the assassination. It doesn't make you a great person, okay? And that's what she asked him. Take a listen.
Before I let you go, I want you to address one thing, and it's just the absurdity of it. Some of the internet rumors that somehow Israel is behind the Charlie Kirk murder, and I don't believe it for 1 second, but I want you to make a statement. It's so absurd.
That's insane. That's insane. Israel also changes the orbit of the moon. Israel pushes the sun. I mean, the whole thing it's not only insane. I think it's so absurd, so stupid, and so ridiculous. You can't believe that people are saying this. They just found the perpetrator. They'll get to the bottom of this. But they go, they have no limits. When you hate Jews, when you hate the Jewish state, you're willing to say anything and promote all these absurd rumors. And by the way, they're willing to kill us all the time. I mean, that's what they're doing. And over the centuries, when Jews, especially in the Middle Ages, the horrific Middle Ages, the worst things were said about Jews you couldn't possibly believe. We were poisoning the wells. We were drinking the blood of Christian children. You name it. I mean, these things, that continued actually up to the Holocaust. The Nazis said the same thing. We're carrying vermin. We're spreading disease. And people believed it. And every time they believed it, this was a prelude to a greater and greater massacre, culminating with the worst massacre of them all, the Holocaust.
Well, he's mentioned the Holocaust. Guess we can't prod the narrative any further, guys. Holocaust. So everybody's just stopped talking about anything. Hey, he's the victim. It's absurd. It's just absurd. The Holocaust happened. You heard him. We're sick of this shit. We really are. And there will be no narrative that I will not prod when it comes to figuring out why people are lying about the state that Charlie was in when it came to the topic of Israel. Again, you can examine Charlie in his own words. He was starting to talk about topics that you're not really allowed to talk about when you take money and big checks are being written. And that pressure was increasing every single day. In fact, he was telling the truth even about Jeffrey Epstein. Take a listen.
Epstein, with his little friend Ghislaine and Ghislaine's father, Robert Maxwell, who was obviously a spy of the Israeli intelligence agencies, that there was something else going on here. Epstein was not some sort of whiz kid hedge fund manager. Epstein was playing a part. Epstein was a LARPer. Epstein was cast for a specific role, and he played it really well. The sweatpants and the Harvard jacket, the kind of disheveled hair, looking as if he was so smart and above the clouds that he was doing advanced mathematic equations on the back of napkins. But if you actually go into some of the videos of people that met with Epstein at the time, they said he was awfully unimpressive when it came to finance and markets and economics. And it's nothing new that if you're in the intel agencies, you want to try and get as much blackmail on powerful people as possible. Easy, not hard. And this is no longer just speculation. First of all, the evidence that shows that Epstein was a creation of either Mossad, Israeli intelligence, American intelligence, Saudi intelligence, or maybe he was just a hired gun. Maybe he was just the guy that countries would go to and park a couple $100 million and say, hey, can you get one of the members of the royal family with a 13-year-old so we can get them to do what we want to do? Members of Congress are actively being blackmailed. The Epstein playbook is being used on a daily basis. Jeffrey Epstein was not a financier. He was not a hedge fund manager. Jeffrey Epstein was a key player in a multi-decade blackmail operation against the most powerful people on the planet.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. It seems to conflict with Bibi's narrative a little bit. Yeah, just a tiny bit. I do want to say this. It's important because I am angry. I will obviously, I pray to move on from this phase, but it's a fire in my belly right now. To those of you who think that you are going to replace Charlie Kirk, okay? Kings are born. You don't just get to depose and tell us that we're going to follow this individual, okay? I'm one of the Masons of Turning Point USA. You put a shill in Charlie Kirk's chair, in Charlie Kirk's company, and you try to tell us to follow that individual, I will be an enemy of you. There will be nothing that can stop me, okay? And I want you guys to understand, this is not a threat. This is a promise. There will be nothing that can stop me. I will release every single text message. So to those of you who are trying that, I'm seeing the messages, I am telling you to back off right now. Like right now, don't do it, okay? Don't you think about it. I know exactly who you are. I know exactly who you were that were exerting pressure. Don't you pretend to be noble now and say nice things about Charlie Kirk and think you're going to slide into his chair, okay? Over my dead body, which I'm sure can be arranged. Now, I'm going to take a pause. We're going to go to some sponsors, and then we're going to get into what we are being told by the agencies. There are definitely some holes. Maybe more is coming out. First, this is fantastic that Preborn is doing this. Every heartbeat tells a story. And at Preborn, they give moms in crisis the chance to hear that heartbeat for free. And that's exactly why I partner with Preborn, because Preborn isn't out to judge women. They're making motherhood possible. They provide free ultrasounds. They share the gospel of Jesus Christ. And more importantly, they stay after the baby is born with real practical support by giving expecting mothers diapers, baby clothes, and even housing and financial help for up to 2 years after the baby is born. That is what true Christ-centered compassion looks like, and that's how you can be a part of it. For just $28, you will give a mom a free ultrasound, one chance to see her baby, and when she does, she's twice as likely to choose life. Preborn is on a mission to save 70,000 babies this year, so don't just say that you're pro-life. You can also live that. To donate now, you can call 855-601-2229 or head to preborn.com/Candace. Again, that's preborn.com/Candace. Also remind you guys about GNO Land, because what if smart contract platforms weren't controlled by elites or big tech? What if they were actually built by and for real builders, the people? That's the question that GNO Land asked, and that's why they built GNO Land. They started with Golang, which is a language that real-world developers already use, and they build a platform all around that. It's transparent, it's intuitive, and it makes sense. Not some confusing system of ones and zeros. It is open source, so imagine GitHub, but designed for on-chain collaboration and composability. Builders actually get credit for their work and they get rewarded. So every time their code gets used, that's the real value in this. It's not likes, it's not clout, it's actual rewards. GNO Land rejected proof of stake, which is a system where the rich really run the show. They went with proof of authority instead, a DAO where contributors and not bad actors or Silicon Valley actually call the shots. GNO Land is open, it's fair, and it is pretty unstoppable. So if you're a builder and you're a freedom lover or you're just tired of rigged platforms, check out gno.land/Candace. Again, that's gno.land/Candace. Also telling you guys about Just Thrive, because the biggest health secret is not that's not being talked about, and I think we know that, is that everything starts in your gut. Every day your gut is fighting a silent war against processed foods, work stress, toxins in the air that you breathe. When your gut is in trouble, your whole body feels it. Most probiotics do not work. 99% of the traditional brands die in your stomach acid before they even reach your gut. And that's what makes Just Thrive spore-based probiotic completely different. Just Thrive is the only probiotic that's clinically proven to arrive 100% in your gut. It does something that no other probiotic can. It turns your gut into an antioxidant factory, creating protective compounds exactly where you need them most. That means better digestion, healthy immunity, more energy, and easy weight management. You can take Just Thrive probiotic in the form of a capsule or a berry-flavored gummy. For their award-winning probiotic to their full line of gut, immune, and brain health supplements, Just Thrive has been fighting to make Americans healthy again with science-backed solutions that you can trust. To join the gut health revolution and take control of your health today, visit justthrivehealth.com and save 20% with promo code Candace, and you'll see the difference yourself, or you will get a full product refund without any questions asked. So take control today with Just Thrive. Again, that's justthrivehealth.com. Use promo code Candace. Okay, let's get into what we know about the Charlie Kirk assassination thus far in terms of what the authorities are telling us. First, I just want to toss it to Michael Savage, because the energy of this, what Michael Savage had to say about everything that we're hearing, is pretty much all of us right now. Take a listen.
The so-called FBI, something's wrong. I know I shouldn't do this. I'm risking an awful lot to go up against this FBI, the MAGA FBI. Something's very wrong with what I just heard. I mean, I watched it. I was hoping that they had caught the bastard who shot Charlie. So we saw a video of a person jumping off the roof. It looked very legitimate to me. However, there was no rifle in his hand. Now, the Mauser does not break down very easily, incidentally, for those of you who know weapons. Something's wrong with the whole thing. They're trying to claim he removed the barrel from the Mauser and fit the receiver and stock in his backpack and barrel in his pants leg, all in 2 seconds. It is not easy to remove a Mauser barrel or index it after reinstalling and remain accurate. We are not hearing or seeing reality. And by the way, the photo of the rifle allegedly left in the woods has the barrel installed. So we're supposed to believe a guy is on the run after killing Charlie Kirk, and he pauses in the woods to reinstall a barrel, and then he leaves it for us to find, the FBI to find. I don't believe a word of it. I shouldn't do this. I know I'm putting myself at risk, but I can't take it anymore. I can't take the bullshit from this fucking government. It's lying to us. Something's wrong. Something's so wrong. It's sickening.
Sickening is definitely the right adjective, I think, to describe how a lot of us are feeling. And all I know how to do is to gather information, to research, and to investigate. And nothing is making sense. Now, it could not be making sense because we've not arrived at the conclusion. The FBI, I will say, has recently come out and said they're looking for another person. Good, because what we have so far obviously cannot be it. I feel, I was insisting that everybody read that book, Chaos, about the Charles Manson murders. And what we learn from that book is that if the government does want to hide something, what they do is they give you so much information that you can't, you don't even know what's real. So many different possible ways that things could have gone down, so many different manners, so many people speaking, so many publications publishing. And it's just meant to be chaotic, to drive you crazy and to just go, okay, I'm just going to accept whenever the authority says something and not prod any further. We can't allow that to happen here. I won't allow that to happen here because this something terrible has traumatized the world, okay? And I feel as though when it comes to this, the media, the government, the talking heads, everyone is confusing us about what actually took place with Charlie Kirk, this event, how it got set up. I even would like to know who picked the venue, okay? Here is what we know thus far, and I will tell you who the exact source is and what video they presented. So the first bit of proof regarding that day happened at 8:07 a.m. According to TMZ, they have footage, and we're going to show you it, which shows a man at 8:07 a.m., so hours before the shooting, wearing a maroon t-shirt and light shorts, as you were seeing on your screen right now, hands in his pockets, that is just walking outside of university grounds, okay? Now, Governor Cox tells us that at 8:29, which is an interesting timeline, Governor Cox tells us that that is when the shooter, Tyler Robinson, arrived at UVU campus in a plain maroon t-shirt, light-colored shorts, and a black hat with a white logo. So essentially, he's saying that what that person we saw walking down the street right there arrived on campus at 8:29. I'm going to allow you to hear Governor Cox say that himself. Take a listen.
Investigators reviewed additional video footage from UVU surveillance and identified Robinson arriving on UVU campus in a gray Dodge Challenger at approximately 8:29 a.m. on September 10th, in which he is observed on video in a plain maroon t-shirt, light-colored shorts, a black hat with a white logo, and light-colored shoes.
So what's interesting, already confusing to me, is that TMZ shows him already walking. We're supposed to believe he walked, parked his car, and then walked onto campus. They're saying that after that video that you just saw of him walking, he got into his car and then drove to campus, and then at 8:29 p.m. on campus is when he arrives. Already confusing, but let's just keep going. We don't need to poke holes. Let's just keep going with the narrative. Then we're back to TMZ, and they release that at 11:49 a.m., they have footage of the shooter who has now changed his outfit. We're supposed to gather that, again, on a doorbell cam, and he's in a different outfit. So this is 11:49 a.m. Charlie Kirk has not yet been shot. Take a look at this. Okay, and for those of you that are listening to this on audio, you are going to see someone who appears to be limping, okay? So maybe he changed his outfit at some point and now he's limping. And the idea that we're seeing floated is that he's limping because he's holding the gun in his pants, okay? That's kind of what's been floated, okay? That has not particularly come from the feds. I don't believe so, but he's limping now and he's got on a different outfit. Okay. 11:52 a.m., and we were actually going to check this, by the way, but I think that we had the FBI say that was when he arrived on campus. Maybe that's not accurate. But so let me just skip off of that, because Skylar, we should actually look to research that. But at 12:23 p.m. is when Charlie Kirk is shot, okay? And 12:23 p.m. is when in that same minute is when we have footage that shows us that as the crowd ducks, and it's blurry, the shooter runs across the rooftop. I'm going to tell you why that's significant. So 12:23, Charlie Kirk is shot, and we are going to have an angle of that and the image of the black person in black, rather, that is running across the rooftop. Take a look at this. They're down, clearly. And right away, look at that, okay? And we have another, so the footage shows us, there's another actually clip that I was looking for, Skylar, there, that it actually shows him running across the rooftop. You guys may have seen it. The reason why that footage is problematic, as you start to see them ducking and then you see the shooter immediately start moving across the rooftop, is that their narrative is that he disassembled the gun and then started running. So that's a bit confusing to us of how he was able to do that so quickly. An unbelievable amount of hunters, guns, people that reached out to me and said, that just didn't happen. They have, exactly as Michael said, that did not happen. There is no way that happened. That cannot be accurate. Then, and this is obviously the craziest part of everything, we have Decoy Boy, right? So it happens and suddenly this guy, George Zinn, gets arrested. He's making noise. He's signaling that he's somehow shot the guy. And at 12:52, it gets announced that the suspect is in custody. So nobody needs to look around anymore because this suspect is in custody. But actually, I guess George Zinn just does that. He just does that, I guess, like just wants people to think he's done something but he hasn't actually done anything. That, again, to me feels like he's a decoy. Like more people are involved in this. And I will say that. We don't know. But we know that something's wrong with this. Then at 12:29 p.m., we have TMZ showing us that there's a person running through the backyard. They are saying this appears to be the suspect running. Okay, now we're going to show you that clip. It is very grainy. So they're alleging that that's him. We couldn't confirm that, and the feds have not confirmed that. But it does show you that someone's running across the back. Again, that's at 12:29 p.m. I don't know. We don't know. I'll give you some other facts that you should probably know just in general that that has been thus far confirmed. The weapon, they say, was found in the woods and it was wrapped by a dark towel. Okay, now, when they gave us a photo of that weapon, it was fully assembled. So this is kind of what Michael Savage is saying. He's saying, okay, so then they reassembled it, or maybe the feds did. Maybe they're going to clarify that they reassembled it for a photograph, but we are told that it was found wrapped in a dark towel. Then we have been told that a screwdriver was found on the roof. So they're sticking to this implication that he perhaps undid this gun while he was on the rooftop, and he, wanted to make sure he unscrewed it with the screwdriver, left the screwdriver behind, but took the gun, but then left the gun in the woods. Okay. Then we get, and this has not been contextualized, and I can't wait until it is contextualized, we get photos that are the shooter. This is when the FBI came out and said he's in a stairwell. We don't know exactly where that stairwell is. He's in outfit number 2. So the outfit change has happened, okay? There's no timeline again, but we can discern that there is no weapon that is in his pant leg because we can see him bending one leg in one photo and we can see him bending the other leg in another photo. So we're unclear about this. What is clear is that there is a ton of cameras on this campus. There is a lot of footage that they could release to make the public feel better about this. I mean, tons of different angles. I don't know why we're getting grainy shots at all. There have been tons of people online going through the tech stack of UVU campus and saying like, hey, why are we getting grainy? Why don't you give us clearer images? In fact, you guys could show us an image here, 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 here. They're not doing that. They're just going with this like grainy image and saying that's it. And you can get this grainy image, but we can't tell you much more. Now, again, it's an open investigation. They're under a lot of pressure. There is no question. I'm certainly not going to let this go. And I want the public to not let this go because you were spiritually impacted by watching a man be publicly executed. And you need to keep that energy and understand that something is very wrong here. Nothing they are saying feels good to me. Honestly, the thing that they said that felt the best to me is when they said that there's probably somebody else involved. That sounds about right. 2 people, maybe these aren't even the same people. Maybe the guy in the maroon is not the same as the guy in the black shirt. That would make sense because why change your outfit? Both of these look like you would blend in on a college campus. So why are you blending in twice? Does that make any sense to you? Why would you change your outfit? Like just like a random fashion show while you're going to murder someone? I just want to change my outfit for funsies. And then we hear that Tyler Robinson, when he is apprehended, it is communicated to us that he is wearing the maroon outfit. Now, I want to be clear. They said this was 33 hours later. So he changed his outfit, I mean, ostensibly because he wants to avoid detection would be the only thing that's I think is reasonable to assume. But then he changes back into the outfit that he was wearing before the shooting. For what reason? 33 hours later, like no shower time? He just wanted them to know that it was him on the camera. That's not clear to me. Why are we changing outfits? Are we just 2 different people? I think it's reasonable to ask that question. Are there 2 different people that are involved? Another thing that's not clear to me is that the story that we were told was that Tyler Robinson allegedly, after speaking with the pastor, his dad turned him in. Bill Ackman put up $1 million, right? Thanks, Bill. He really cared about Charlie. And that money is now going to the father of this child, who, after prayer and speaking to a pastor, they're saying, okay, well, he turned himself in. That we were told he turned himself in. Now we're being told that actually he hasn't confessed. So I'm just wondering, how do you turn yourself in without confessing? Because if I say my kid did it, that's enough for an arrest? What if the kid says he didn't do it? I didn't do it. Dad says you did. Okay, how did they arrest him without a confession? I'm going to show you Governor Cox's statement where he says that the kid is not confessed. Take a listen.
I know you heard that report by Matt Gutman and this latest reporting in the New York Times that some of the suspect's acquaintances were allegedly talking to him online and joking and thought they recognized him from those early photos. Can you tell us anything about that this morning or anything further on the investigation?
Well, all we can confirm is that those conversations definitely were happening, and they did not believe it was actually him. It was all joking until he admitted that it actually was him.
And anything new on the investigation? You say he admitted that, confessed?
No, not again. He is not confessed to authorities. He is not cooperating. But all the people around him are cooperating, and I think that's very important. There were reports yesterday that we can confirm that his roommate was indeed a boyfriend who is transitioning from male to female. That's information that the FBI had mentioned yesterday. We can confirm that as well, and that he is cooperating with authorities as well.
Okay, so I'm just not entirely clear on this confession element. Did the pastor just say he did it? Did the father say he did it, but they didn't have any proof? Again, this is obviously everyone's investigating. We yield to them. Do I think this kid was involved somehow? Yeah. Do I think he did this alone? Absolutely not. This story makes entirely no sense. And then there's this random discord over Discord, okay? So Governor Cox came out and told us that there were messages about the rifle drop point, okay? Discord says not the same thing. Let's listen to Governor Cox say that on this social media app, Discord, they were discussing the rifle drop point. Take a listen.
Investigators identified an individual as the roommate of Robinson. Investigators interviewed that roommate, who stated that his roommate, referring to Robinson, made a joke on Discord. Investigators asked if he would show them the messages on Discord. He opened it and showed several messages to investigators and allowed investigators to take photos of the screen as each message was shown by Robinson's roommate. These photos consisted of various messages, including content of messages between the phone contact named Tyler with an emoji icon and Robinson's roommate's device. The content of these messages included messages affiliated with the contact Tyler, stating a need to retrieve a rifle from a drop point, leaving the rifle in a bush, messages related to visually watching the area where a rifle was left, and a message referring to having left the rifle wrapped in a towel. The messages also refer to engraving bullets and a mention of a scope and the rifle being unique. Messages from the contact Tyler also mentioned that he had changed outfits.
Okay. So he changed outfits. Again, unclear why he did that. Unclear why he would then put the outfit back on 33 hours later. Most people just shower within that time. I did receive contact from one of Tyler Robinson's classmates, and they said that was the strangest part to them. They told me that was the strangest part, the 33-hour putting on an outfit that he had on 33 hours early, because they described him as remarkably tidy. He was a tidy individual. So they that flagged them as weird. Just seems like a little extra work. Again, unnecessary, right? Completely unnecessary. You're getting nothing out of changing your outfit. We have a statement from Discord, which kind of disputes that. Discord says, in the course of our investigation, we identified a Discord account associated with the suspect, but have found no evidence that the suspect planned this incident or promoted violence on Discord, a spokesperson said in a statement. Again, maybe they need more time, and they're going to get more time. They're going to get a lot of time because it will be never that I let this go. It will be absolutely never that I let this go. Everything just spiritually feels very wrong here. Yeah. It feels like we are being lied to by who? I'm not sure. Are there some good guys? Of course, there's always good guys in government, but there are too many bad guys in government for me to feel good about this. And so, ladies and gentlemen, we are obviously going to continue to follow this to tighten up this timeline with the most up-to-date information that we can possibly have, everything that we could possibly learn about the father that is involved in this. I want to know more about the father. He's being described as a hero. He turned his son in. Okay, I don't trust anything right now. Okay, I trust absolutely nothing. I think everyone needs to be investigated. Every person that is even mentioned should be investigated. We have a right to do that, and we're going to continue to do that. All right, guys, before I get into some of your comments, I want to remind you guys about Pure Talk, because when was the last time that you bragged about your wireless company? Did you know, have you ever said to anybody, did you know that my wireless company gave 1,000 American flags to deserving vets, forgave $10 million in veteran debt, and my wireless company also raised almost $500,000 to prevent veteran suicide? In other words, when your wireless company is actually Pure Talk, there's a whole lot to brag about. You can even brag about the coverage that you get with Pure Talk. They are a 5G network that is insanely fast, dependable. They are also secure. You can definitely brag about how much money you save with Pure Talk, unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data. It's just $25 a month, saving the average family over $1,000 a year. It's time to switch to my wireless company, Pure Talk. Head to puretalk.com/Owens, and you'll save an additional 50% off your first month. Again, that's puretalk.com/Owens to make the switch today. Also reminding you guys about American financing, because the cost of everything is still out of control, and many of us are relying on credit cards to cover essentials. If that debt is piling up, you are not alone. Americans collectively owe over $1 trillion in credit card debt. You might have considered reaching out to my friends at American Financing, but hesitated to do so because you don't want to give up your low mortgage rate. Well, there's good news. They've created the Smart Equity Loan, which is a solution designed to help you take control of your finances without touching your current mortgage. Unlike an HELOC, which can have varied interest rates, the Smart Equity Loan offers a fixed rate. That means one predictable monthly payment, giving you peace of mind. This loan allows you to leverage the equity in your home to pay off high interest debt, free up your cash flow, and keep your existing low mortgage rate intact. It only takes 10 minutes to get started with no upfront or hidden fees. Call American Financing and start saving now. Call 800-795-1210. Again, that's 800-795-1210, or visit americanfinancing.net/Owens. That's americanfinancing.net/Owens. Also, in times like these, we are called to do more than just grieve. We are also called to act, to strengthen our resolve, and to carry forward the values that Charlie fought for every single day. Love of God, love of family, and love of country. Nimi Skincare reached out to me because they want to encourage donations to Turning Point USA to ensure that Charlie's legacy does not just live in memory. It continues to grow. Nimi will be matching every donation made to Turning Point USA, helping expand chapters across the nation and strengthen his mission moving forward. Here's how you can take part. Go to tpusa.com and make a donation of any size. Then simply forward your receipt to faith@nimiskincare.com. Again, that is faith@nimiskincare.com, and Nimi will match it dollar for dollar. Charlie's impact was bigger than any of us could have imagined. Though he was only 31, he inspired millions of Americans of all ages to think critically, to courageously stand for truth, and to live with faith and purpose. He welcomed us into a community that inspired courage, conviction, and hope. So if you are able, please go to tpusa.com and make a donation and forward your receipt to faith@nimiskincare.com. Let's honor Charlie's life, not only with our prayers, but with action. All right, guys, what are you thinking about all of this? Kind of strange that nobody at the Hamptons meeting wants to speak about anything. Everyone's a little hush-hush right now and trying to manipulate me into not speaking. Now is not the time. No, it's the time. It's the time. You know what time? As soon as a bullet was lodged into his throat, it became time. So there you go. I hope that helps. A lot of people that I'm looking at, I feel like you are not meant to watch your friend die in that way. It was so violent, and I am angry. So it's the time, okay? Anna writes, At AmFest 2023, I went alone at the PBD Live podcast. I stood there talking to a woman for the whole hour the show was going on. Talked to her about my heritage, Armenian, and she shared that she and her husband cared deeply about my people. At the end of the conversation, she let me know that she let me know she is Charlie's wife, Erica. She made me feel welcome when I was alone. God be with the Kirks. If there was anything that could rile Charlie up, it's questioning his moral integrity. Yeah, they are very, very good people. Charlie and Erica are fantastic people. Charlie did things the right way. And so watching these snakes, oh my, let me just stay calm. I'm just going to get through this. As if you're just going to slide into Charlie's chair. Don't do it. Okay? That's not even a threat. It's just a promise. I'll expose everything. I don't care. I will just release every text. I don't care. Sue me. Don't care. Do it. Okay? Liberty Bell writes, so many people are talking about Israel for the first time right now. How do we begin explaining this to people newly wondering about Israel? What is the best episode of yours to recommend to beginners? Okay. A lot to unpack there. The first thing that I want to say is I have been thinking about what I'm going to do to honor Charlie. How do I honor Charlie? The best way that I can honor Charlie is to insist upon parents that if you have the means, take your children out of these schools. All of them, okay? At that university, when Charlie was shot, someone stood up and cheered. You do not want your children to be in that environment spiritually. This is everywhere. This was a part of his movement, understanding there's an underground communist movement, and it is at all schools. I want to be very clear. So if you can, and I'm telling you, you can, okay, take your children out of these schools and homeschool. That's what I want. I want to build this legacy by encouraging people to homeschool, okay? Now, in terms of specifically how people can learn about Israel, for me, judge them by their actions. How everyone feels when you're friendly with them. I mean, Dave Smith has a very good tweet about that. It's like all these people who supported them, and then suddenly they come under pressure to effectively lie or to go against their morality. That's not normal. There are so many books that can get you started on your journey, but if there's one that I would recommend everybody read, because you need to understand the beast that you're dealing with, like what kind of lies are willing to be told and sold. I would say right now, my book club, and you don't need to join that, but you should read The Assault on Truth. It's a good start, okay, to understand that Sigmund Freud is celebrated in schools as the father of modern psychology. He is the father of nothing but modern gaslighting, and that's what they do. They gaslight repeatedly, okay? Don't believe your own eyes. When you understand how severe the lies were that were being told, that Sigmund Freud professionalized in form of the psychoanalytic movement, I'm talking about parents that were raping their toddlers he was covering for, then you understand the evil that we are confronted with, like what kind of people would organize and lie about something like that, okay? You got to confront real evil. And then I would recommend you read David Bakan, Sigmund Freud, and I think it's the history of the Jewish mystical tradition. I think those are probably and that doesn't even get into like the history of Israel, but it will help you. I think that kind of woke me up and led me to researching more about the history of Israel. And it started with the gaslighting mentality and the father of it. I would definitely read Shlomo Sand. There's a book called The Invention of the Jewish People that gets into Israel full stop. He was, I believe, a historian at Tel Aviv University. That's an important one. And you will note that all of these books that I'm recommending, by the way, were written by Jewish authors, because that makes you aware of the fact that you're not diving into something that can be labeled anti-Semitic, because, I mean, these people were like in the IDF, you know what I mean? And so there's no incentive for them to lie. But if you just want to jump right into Israeli history, I would say Shlomo Sand would be a good start. The Invention of the Jewish People is a good one. And he took a lot of flack for having written it, standing up to neo-historians, which is who we are also fighting. They are neo-historians. They publish a lot. And you believe they're kind of creating this matrix of history that there's very little truth there. Kari writes, all death can do to the believer is deliver him to Jesus. That's fantastic. And you are absolutely correct. Jordan Jacqueline writes, pray for Candace Owens. As M. Skim writes, go Candace, go, but be careful. No one was more careful than Charlie Kirk, and he still got a bullet in the throat. So that's what I would like to say to that. Amanda Moore writes, contributing for the fight. May the God protect you and your family. By the way, these are really big donations that are coming in right now to me. And I thank you because when I tell you I am, I will catch more lawsuits to get the truth out about Charlie Kirk if I have to. Okay. That's all these people have is threats, lawsuits, contracts, lawyers. I'm sick of it. I am sick of it. Truly, I am done. I'm done. Okay. I'm done. That's it. It took Charlie Kirk dying for me to like literally, I want you to know, F you. Like truly, I mean that. I don't care. I'll expose everything. You guys who are watching know what I know. So tell the truth. Just tell the truth for once in your miserable lives. Okay, I need to calm down. I told the priest I would chill. I did. No, I didn't. I actually said I just needed time. But I understood that my anger was wrong. And the priest told me that is like, everybody struggles with certain things. Mine is vengeance. I have to work on that. So I would like to apologize for my tone 10 seconds ago. IPO TV writes, it seems pretty clear what's happening here, and I'm shaking my head. I didn't follow Charlie, but was moved by his passing. A little something for security and no more over your dead body talk. We need you. Stay strong and safe. Thank you for saying that. And I'm here. I'm here. I am obviously still not okay. I don't know if I'll ever be okay from having watched that, but I am focused. Mandy writes, Christ is king and hopefully is returning very soon. Tony Hill writes, I constantly pray for Charlie Kirk and his family as well as you and your family. Their plan is causing division in our country. We need to take what they did to Charlie and come together to fight their evil, not each other. Candace, we have your back. Yeah, I know. I've been a little snippy because it's really hard to see people, especially going back into like every message that me and Charlie ever shared that did nothing but try to destroy him. Like just the pretense of nobility stresses me out. It does. But I won't, every week I will get better. And I'm trying. I am trying to be gracious and not angry. Anger is my choice emotion at this moment. Divine Counsel writes, Candace, I have joined you as a voice for truth. I changed my channel the day of Charlie's murder and I took my mask off. Hard being a Black conservative. Please look into the book, The 13th Tribe. I've heard a lot about that book. It's about the origin of the Ashkenazi Jews, the Khazars. Yeah. I mean, you can also read their own books and they said they were the Khazars. So, I've covered that on my show extensively. Look up Abraham Pollock. He won awards for saying they were the Khazars and tracing them back. So again, we are fighting neo-historians and you should just accept that everything that you learned in a textbook is not real, which is why I say get your kids out of these schools. If you want to honor Charlie, get your children out of these public schools. Not even the private ones too. I want to be very clear. It's a communist movement. It always has been communist. They need your children. That is the one resource that they can't buy, and that's your children, okay? Because that protects their dynasty, to be able to have their minds, to impact their minds, to lie to them. It is psychology. That's why reading about Sigmund Freud is very important, to understand what modern psychology is and how much they have invested, how much time they have invested into thinking about how they're going to raise up your children, okay? It is wicked, it is evil, it is disturbing, but you need to know it. You need to know it. Read The Assault on Truth, process it, and recognize that when you grew up, you were told to honor that monster, okay? Up is down and down is up. Question everything. We certainly will be questioning everything. Kiara writes, Candace, after I posted my prayers to Charlie's family, I was blocked and removed by people I once considered close to me. It's sick how many people I see in my everyday life that support such an ungodly act. Christ is King, praying for you and your family. Thank you very much. Christ is King. The tributes around the world towards Charlie lifted up my heart. There is a lot more that I will say, but I, again, want to invite people to lie first. I want to invite people to lie. If you have any more information, please send them to tips@CandaceOwens.com. If you want to join our movement of the decentralized intelligence agency, you can head on over to support us in our work. We are entirely independent. We take money from nobody, and so nobody can threaten me. You can head over to our website, CandaceOwens.com. You can sign up, buy yourself a hat, stay there, and we really appreciate that. That's why we're able to keep going. And I want to say to everybody else who is lying on behalf of certain people, I know who you are, Okay. I know who you are too. I'm writing that down. So tread carefully, you know, because I wouldn't want to get caught up in lying right now. I wouldn't want to be you and be caught up in lying right now, because the truth is going to win. The truth is going to come out. We'll see you guys tomorrow.